Mom sided with my cheating wife, so I cut ties with them. This happened a while back. I'm in my 30s now, but at the time I was 22 and my sister Tina was 18. Tina was always my mom's favorite, while my dad thankfully had a good head on his shoulders and would call out her nonsense. Still, my mom's interference often meant Tina got off easy. It all went down when my parents decided to take a vacation to Aspen, leaving Tina in charge of the house. They told her no parties, but that was a rule she flat out ignored. A day after our parents left, Tina started sending out invites to a party, promising free alcohol. I didn't see her posts at first, but she called me and asked me to buy alcohol for her party since I was over 21 and could legally buy it. She also wanted me to pay for it, offering to invite me to the party and introduce me to an easy girl as payment. I told her no way. I wasn't going to break the law for her. She should never have promised alcohol in the first place. She screamed at me that I was ruining her life and that she couldn't take back the invites now that they were all over Facebook. I looked at her post and told her it was a stupid move. All her friends were underage, so it was illegal. She argued that it would only be illegal if I snitched. I said I wouldn't snitch, but I wasn't going to buy her booze either. She screamed some more, so I hung up. That night, Tina had her party. Someone called the police for underage drinking, and when confronted by the cops, she threw me under the bus, saying I had supplied the alcohol. She had broken into Dad's liquor cabinet and thought it would be better to frame me for her crime. The next day, the police came and arrested me at my apartment. They were already convinced I was guilty and didn't listen when I said I wasn't there. But I cooperated. At the station, I told them the whole story and showed them Tina's Facebook post. Thankfully, some of the officers listened, but I still had to spend the night in a cell while my parents were called. My mom and dad flew back home overnight and bailed us both out. My mom wanted my dad to leave me in jail because she believed Tina's lies, but Dad took the time to talk to me and check Tina's Facebook. He believed me, causing a huge fight between him and my mom. When they got home, Dad found out Tina had broken into his liquor cabinet and talked to the police on my behalf. My mom, however, still wanted the blame to fall on me, saying the charges were ruining her baby's future. My innocence was proven by CCTV footage showing me leaving work and arriving at my apartment, where my car stayed parked all night. Tina's story fell apart since I wasn't seen at any liquor store, and my bank showed no alcohol purchases. The camera at our parents' house also didn't catch my car in the driveway that day. When confronted with these facts, Tina changed her story, saying I gave her the alcohol at my apartment. But her car was never seen at my place either. I had 3 cheap beers in my fridge and no hard liquor. Tina finally gave up her lies. My parents were disappointed in her, but my mom still tried to convince me to take the fall. She came to my apartment demanding I tell the police it was all my fault. I refused, saying I wouldn't ruin my future for Tina. She begged, even got on her knees, and promised they would make everything okay in the long run. I still said no. She threw a fit, cussing me out, and left. I called my dad right away. He was furious and had a huge fight with my mom when she got home. She didn't deny anything she said or did because she thought it was for the greater good of her daughter. Dad told her she couldn't destroy me to save Tina and threatened divorce if she didn't try to make things right. She sobbed and agreed to do whatever he wanted. Dad insisted on family counseling or divorce. Mom signed a prenup and had no choice but to comply. In family counseling, I called out Tina's lies from over the years. I had written a list of all the lies proven over the past decade. My mom and Tina were forced to stay silent as I read them. My sister was proven to be a liar and manipulator, so she shut down, refusing to say more. My mom apologized to me, but it was obviously forced. I told her the damage was done and our relationship never really recovered. When Tina went to court, Mom pleaded for leniency for her charges of underage drinking, providing alcohol to minors, resisting arrest, and trying to frame me. The relentless lawyer my parents hired got the judge to cut a deal if Tina pleaded guilty. She didn't want to, but her lawyer recommended it to avoid jail time. The alcohol wasn't bought that day, but was already in the house, which lessened the charges. Tina deleted her Facebook post as soon as she could to hide the evidence. The judge wanted the case over with, so Tina got a huge fine, mostly paid by Mom, and a couple of years of probation. She was also made to get therapy by Dad. She never showed remorse and held animosity towards me. She was diagnosed as a narcissist after her probation in college. Once she landed a good job, she left for California and cut us off. Dad disowned her for what she did and stopped caring if she'd ever talk to him again. Mom gave up on her ever coming home. My relationship with Mom is indifferent because Tina's absence didn't make me the new favorite. It just meant Mom lost her baby and became bitter. Dad and I are still close. He and Mom don't even sleep in the same bedroom anymore, and their marriage is just on paper now. In the end, Tina's actions tore the family apart, and she showed no appreciation for what our parents did for her. She even cut off contact with Mom, who stuck up for her. I focused on my life, proving my innocence and moving on. It's a sad situation, but it taught me a lot about family dynamics and the importance of integrity. My mom VJTM's sadness over losing her baby never faded. She often tried to bridge the gap between us, but every attempt felt forced and insincere. Tina had manipulated her for so long that Mom didn't know how to genuinely connect with me. Dad, on the other hand, fully supported me. He knew I had been wronged and stood by my side, even as our family dynamics shifted dramatically. After Tina left for California, the house felt emptier. Holidays were quieter, and there was a palpable tension whenever my mom and I were in the same room. Dad and I grew closer, spending time working on his businesses and talking about life. He taught me a lot about running a business, and I found myself managing one of his smaller companies, a job I took seriously and enjoyed. Years passed, and I thought I had moved on from the chaos Tina had caused. But then, out of the blue, she resurfaced. It started with a phone call from my mom, who sounded both excited and apprehensive. "Tina's pregnant," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. "She wants to come home and make amends." I couldn't believe it. After all the trouble she caused, she now wanted to come back into our lives because she was having a baby? I was skeptical and told Mom so. "Don't you see? She's just using the baby as a way to manipulate you again," I said. But Mom, ever hopeful, believed Tina had changed. Tina showed up a few weeks later, visibly pregnant and with a new boyfriend in tow. She put on a show of remorse, crying and begging for forgiveness. My dad, ever the realist, demanded proof of her sincerity. He insisted she take another pregnancy test, which she did, confirming her pregnancy. Despite his skepticism, Dad agreed to support the baby, but under strict conditions. Tina had to seek therapy and apologize to me for what she had done. The latter she did reluctantly, in a half-hearted manner that didn't convince anyone. But the baby softened my parents, and they allowed her to stay in her old room. It didn't take long for the cracks in Tina's fagsade to show. Her boyfriend, clearly there for the money, was treated poorly by her, and their relationship quickly soured. During one particularly heated argument, he left, and Tina found herself alone. One day, while she was supposed to be in therapy, I found her rummaging through my dad's office, looking for documents. I confronted her, and she lashed out, saying she deserved everything because she was the one who had suffered the most. "Suffered? You've been handed everything on a silver platter," I shouted. "You've never appreciated anything our parents did for you. You used them, just like you're trying to use this baby." She stormed out, but not before making a scene in front of my parents. Dad had had enough. He told Tina that if she wanted their support, she had to follow their rules. Tina, ever defiant, tried to negotiate, but Dad stood firm. The final straw came when Tina, frustrated and angry, threatened to leave with the baby unless my parents gave her money. Dad, seeing through her bluff, called her out. "If you walk out that door, don't expect to come back," he said sternly. Tina left, slamming the door behind her. For a while we didn't hear from her. Mom was heartbroken, but Dad was resolute. He refused to let Tina's manipulative behavior disrupt our lives any further. Months later, Tina gave birth. She allowed my parents to visit, but I was explicitly unwelcome. My parents were overjoyed at the birth of their grandchild, but it was bittersweet knowing Tina was still manipulating them. Eventually, Tina's boyfriend left her, and she was desperate. She came back, this time offering to let my parents adopt the baby in exchange for a house and money. My parents, though reluctant, agreed to ensure the baby's future. Tina signed over all her rights, and my parents adopted their grandchild. With the baby now part of our family, my parents focused on raising him with love and care. They hired a nanny to help, ensuring he had a stable upbringing. Tina, true to form, cut off contact again once she got what she wanted. I never expected things to come full circle, but in a way they did. Tina's actions had torn our family apart, but the birth of her child brought a new sense of purpose to my parents' lives. As for me, I continued to build my life, grateful for my dad's unwavering support and the lessons learned from our tumultuous family history. Though the wounds Tina caused would never fully heal, we found a new sense of normalcy. My relationship with my mom remained strained, but with my dad and now my nephew, I had a family worth fighting for. And so life went on. We adapted, we grew, and we made the best of the hand we were dealt. Tina might have tried to destroy us, but in the end we survived and found strength in each other. Months turned into years, and the child, whom my parents named Jacob, became the light of their lives. They doted on him, giving him the love and attention that Tina never appreciated. I watched Jacob grow from a distance, initially hesitant to get too involved, but his innocent smile and laughter slowly melted my heart. My parents, determined not to repeat the mistakes they made with Tina, raised Jacob with a balanced approach. They were firm but loving, setting boundaries while encouraging his curiosity and independence. Jacob thrived under their care, and I began to see him as more than just my nephew VDJ. He became a symbol of hope and new beginnings for our fractured family. During this time, I continued to manage one of Dad VDJ's businesses, and we grew even closer. We often talked about the future, and Dad shared his plans for me to take over his main company when he retired. It was a huge responsibility, but I was ready to take it on, fueled by a desire to make him proud and prove that his trust in me was well placed. One day, while Jacob was playing in the backyard, Dad and I sat on the porch, sipping coffee. The conversation turned to Tina, as it often did in quiet moments. "Do you think she'll ever come back?" I asked, not really expecting an answer. Dad sighed, looking out at Jacob. "I don't know, son. She made her choices, but we have to focus on the family we have now." I nodded, understanding the unspoken truth in his words. Tina might always be a part of our past, but she didn't have to define our future. As the years went by, my mom and I gradually mended our relationship. It wasn't easy, and there were many difficult conversations, but the presence of Jacob helped bridge the gap. Mom's regret over her past actions was genuine, and she worked hard to show me that she was committed to being a better person and mother. One Christmas, as we gathered around the tree, Jacob excitedly unwrapping his gifts, Mom pulled me aside. She looked nervous, and I could see the sincerity in her eyes. "I know I can't change the past," she began, her voice trembling. "But I want you to know how sorry I am for everything. You deserved better, and I'm proud of the man you've become." Her words, though long overdue, touched me deeply. I hugged her, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. "Thank you, Mom. That means a lot." Our family was far from perfect, but we had found a way to move forward. Jacob was growing into a kind and smart boy, full of potential. He reminded us all of the importance of love, forgiveness, and resilience. One summer, Dad decided it was time to retire. He officially handed over the reins of the main company to me in a small ceremony attended by close friends and family. It was a proud moment, one that felt like the culmination of all the hard work and lessons learned over the years. With my new role, I found a renewed sense of purpose. I wanted to ensure the company thrived, not just for my sake, but for Dad's legacy and Jacob's future. I also took on the responsibility of being a mentor to Jacob, teaching him the values of hard work, honesty, and integrity. As Jacob grew older, he often asked about his mother. We decided to tell him the truth in age-appropriate ways, never hiding the fact that she had made poor choices but emphasizing that he was deeply loved and wanted by us. Jacob accepted this with a maturity beyond his years, showing a resilience that made us all proud. Meanwhile, Tina's life in California remained a mystery. She rarely contacted us, and when she did, it was usually through curt messages or sporadic updates. Despite everything, I hoped she found some measure of peace and happiness, but I no longer let her decisions affect my life. One day, many years later, I received a letter from Tina. It was unexpected and filled with apologies and reflections. She wrote about her struggles, her regrets, and her realization of the pain she had caused. She didn't ask for forgiveness or a place back in the family. She just wanted to express her remorse. I read the letter several times, feeling a mix of emotions. In the end, I decided to respond. I told her about Jacob, about our lives, and how we had moved on. I didn't offer an invitation to return, but I did wish her well and expressed a hope that she could find her own path to happiness. Life continued to move forward. Jacob excelled in school and eventually went to college, pursuing a degree in business with a minor in psychology. He wanted to understand people better, to avoid the mistakes of the past, and to help others find their way. I couldn't have been prouder. Looking back, I realized that our family's journey was one of transformation. We had faced betrayal, heartbreak, and loss, but we had also found strength, love, and redemption. Tina's actions had set off a chain of events that tested us all, but in the end we emerged stronger and more united. As I stood in the backyard watching Jacob play with his friends, I felt a deep sense of gratitude. Our family had been through so much, but we had built a new future together. And in that moment, I knew that we could face anything, as long as we had each other. Jacob continued to grow into an impressive young man, full of kindness and integrity. He often spent time with Dad and me at the office, learning the ins and outs of the business world. He was curious, always asking questions and eager to soak up any knowledge we could share. One summer, Jacob came to me with a proposal. He had been studying sustainable business practices in college and was passionate about implementing some of these ideas into our company. He believed that making our operations more eco-friendly would not only be good for the environment, but also attract a new generation of customers who valued sustainability. I was impressed by his initiative and dedication. Together we began working on a plan to make our business more sustainable. We introduced energy-efficient technologies, started sourcing materials from ethical suppliers, and launched a line of eco-friendly products. The changes were well received by our customers and employees alike, and the company's reputation soared. During this time, I noticed that Mom had found a new sense of purpose as well. She became actively involved in community service, volunteering at local shelters and organizing charity events. She said it helped her feel connected and gave her a way to give back after all the years of turmoil. Her efforts were inspiring, and I was proud of the positive changes she had made in her life. As the years went by, Jacob graduated from college with honors. We celebrated his achievements with a big family gathering filled with laughter, love, and pride. Dad, now fully retired, gave a heartfelt speech about the importance of family, hard work, and the legacy we were building together. Jacob decided to join the family business full-time, bringing his fresh perspective and innovative ideas. He quickly proved himself to be a valuable asset, and I knew the future of the company was in good hands. We worked side by side, and our bond grew stronger each day. One day, while we were reviewing some financial reports, Jacob turned to me with a serious look on his face. "Uncle, I've been thinking a lot about Mom lately," he said, using the term he had adopted for Tina over the years, despite their limited contact. "Do you think it's time we reach out to her? Maybe she's changed." I sighed, considering his words carefully. "Jacob, your mother made a lot of mistakes and she's caused a lot of pain, but people can change. If you feel it's time to try and reconnect, I support you. Just be prepared for whatever outcome." Jacob nodded, determination in his eyes. He took it upon himself to track down Tina and initiate contact. It wasn't easy, and there were many setbacks, but Jacob's persistence paid off. He managed to find her and send a heartfelt letter expressing his desire to meet and get to know her. Tina's response was cautious but positive. She admitted to her past mistakes and expressed a genuine desire to rebuild some sort of relationship with Jacob. They arranged to meet in a neutral location, and Jacob asked if I would accompany him for support. I agreed, knowing how important this was to him. The meeting was tense at first, but as they began to talk, a sense of understanding slowly emerged. Tina was visibly different from the person I remembered VDJ, more humble, more reflective. She spoke about her struggles, her regrets, and the therapy she had undergone to deal with her issues. It was clear she was making an effort to change. Jacob listened intently, asking questions and sharing his own experiences. It was a challenging but cathartic conversation for both of them. By the end of the meeting, there was a tentative agreement to continue building their relationship step by step. Over time, Tina and Jacob developed a bond. It wasn't the traditional mother-son relationship, but it was a start. They met regularly, and Tina even began to attend some family gatherings. It was awkward at first, but the family slowly adapted. For me, it was a journey of forgiveness and acceptance. Tina's actions had caused deep wounds, but seeing her efforts to change and reconnect with Jacob allowed me to let go of much of the lingering resentment. We would never be as close as we once were, but there was peace in knowing that we could coexist and support Jacob together. Years passed, and our family continued to grow stronger. Jacob eventually took over as CEO of the company, leading it with the same passion and integrity that Dad and I had instilled in him. He married a wonderful woman named Emily, and they had 2 beautiful children, bringing even more joy and love into our lives. Dad, now a proud great-grandfather, spent his days enjoying the simple pleasures of life, surrounded by his loving family. Mom, too, found fulfillment in her community work and cherished every moment with her grandchildren and great-grandchildren. As for me, I looked back on our journey with a sense of pride and contentment. Our family had faced immense challenges, but we had emerged stronger and more united. We had learned the power of forgiveness, the importance of resilience, and the value of love. One evening, as we gathered for a family dinner, I watched Jacob play with his children in the yard, their laughter filling the air. Tina sat nearby, smiling and chatting with Emily and Mom. Dad was by my side, a look of pure happiness on his face. In that moment, I realized that despite all the pain and hardship, we had built something beautiful. Our family was far from perfect, but it was ours, and it was filled with love, hope, and a promise of a better future. And that, I thought, was the greatest legacy of all. Jacob and Emily VDJTM's children, Lily and Max, grew up surrounded by love and family values. Jacob made sure to instill in them the same principles of hard work, honesty, and integrity that he had learned from Dad and me. They were bright kids, full of curiosity and kindness, and they brought even more joy into our lives. As the years went by, our family continued to thrive. The company, under Jacob's leadership, expanded and became a model of sustainability and ethical business practices. Jacob's innovative ideas and commitment to doing good in the world earned the company numerous awards and accolades. I couldn't have been prouder of him. One summer, Jacob and Emily decided to take the kids on a cross-country road trip. They wanted to show Lily and Max the beauty and diversity of our country and teach them about different cultures and ways of life. They planned to visit national parks, historical landmarks, and small towns, making memories that would last a lifetime. Before they left, we had a big family gathering to send them off. Dad, now in his 90s, gave a heartfelt speech about the importance of family and the value of exploring the world with open hearts and minds. Mom, too, shared her wisdom and expressed her pride in the family we had become. As they traveled, Jacob sent regular updates and photos. It was clear they were having an incredible time and the kids were learning so much. They hiked in the Rockies, explored the Grand Canyon, and even visited the small town where Dad had grown up. It was a trip filled with adventure and bonding. One evening, as I sat on the porch with Dad, reflecting on how far we had come, he turned to me with a serious look in his eyes. "You know, son," he said, "seeing the family grow and thrive like this, it's more than I ever hoped for. You've done an amazing job, and I'm so proud of you." I smiled, feeling a lump in my throat. "Thanks, Dad. I couldn't have done it without you. Your guidance and support have meant everything to me." He patted my hand, his eyes filled with warmth. "Remember, it's not just about the business or the success. It's about the love and the connections we build. That's what truly matters." As I watched the sunset that evening, I felt a deep sense of gratitude for the life we had built. Our family had faced many challenges, but we had always come out stronger on the other side. We had learned to forgive, to support each other, and to cherish the moments we had together. When Jacob and his family returned from their road trip, they were full of stories and experiences. Lily and Max were eager to share everything they had seen and learned, and it was clear the trip had a profound impact on them. They had developed a deeper appreciation for the world and a stronger bond with each other. Life continued to be filled with milestones and celebrations. Lily graduated from high school with honors and went on to study environmental science in college, inspired by her father's commitment to sustainability. Max, a talented artist, pursued his passion and earned a scholarship to a prestigious art school. Tina, who had remained a distant but somewhat involved presence, occasionally visited during holidays. Her relationship with Jacob and the rest of us remained complicated, but there was a sense of cautious reconciliation. She had remarried and seemed to have found some stability in her life, though the past still cast a long shadow. As I entered my twilight years, I found immense joy in watching my grandchildren grow and succeed. They were kind, compassionate, and driven by a desire to make the world a better place. It was a legacy I was proud to be a part of. One day, as I sat in the garden with Dad, now in his late 90s, we talked about the future. "You know, Dad," I said, "I think we've done something truly special. Our family is strong, and we're making a positive impact on the world." He smiled, his eyes twinkling with pride. "Yes, we have. And it's all because we never gave up on each other. Family is everything." As the sun set on that peaceful evening, I felt a profound sense of peace and fulfillment. We had faced our demons, overcome our struggles, and built a family filled with love and hope. The future was bright, and I knew that the legacy of kindness, integrity, and resilience would continue for generations to come. And so, as I looked out at the horizon, surrounded by the laughter and love of my family, I realized that life had come full circle. We had created a home where love thrived, where dreams were nurtured, and where the bonds of family would forever remain unbreakable.